Dear friends, it's such a pleasure to welcome you to the Naija Landlord Summit 2025.
Researchers and from professionals or stakeholders, it has been revealed that we have 20 million housing deficits. What 20 million housing deficit means, forget about that big grammar deficit, is that 20 million people are homeless. That's what it means.
Can you people throw more light on the NHF?
NHF has not achieved its objective. If funding is a problem for Federal Mortgage Bank, and they are still working on getting more funding if it is possible. But for now, while that is going on, government says let's look for other alternatives.
You can't just pay someone who just want to take from where he did not plant. So you need to make that clear. Please, this money that we are paying, show us like a mandate showing that the federal government has given you the mandate to manage these properties. Very, very important. The second one you asked,
what are my chances of making money in oil and gas? The chances in real estate is higher. So I chose the one with the higher chances.
Real estate investment. Oh, it's sweet. There's money in real estate. Oh, they are just there doing what? Waving their hands. Why opportunities is doing what? Slipping through their hands.
The law that gave birth to Lacera is giving government officials the power to go and hawk licensing around Lagos.
Those of us who are not renters that you just came, I can tell you that you can as well earn money while you're working in your office or doing whatever you are doing as your profession.
If you're a realtor here and you're a developer, it's very, very important because you see, when you go to the market will speak back to you.
There is one family in Lagos that always insert a clause in their title. She didn't want to mention. I will mention in case of you, some of you want to go. If you go to Apapa, the Nigerian real estate climate has a very brighter future with government intervention to regulate the industry. Kudos must be given to the Lagos state government that has been in the forefront of regulation. And it all started in the mid-70s. And you know, in the 70s, Nigeria was ruled by military people, right? So the only person, governor, who was then the governor of Lagos State, then the late Mobolaji Johnson. I don't know, how many of us have heard about the late Mobolaji Johnson? I know the older ones, we know that. It was the first to make an intervention into the regulation of real estate business and practice. Those of you who are of Yoruba tribe, we used to have a musician then in the 70s. They call him Haruna Oshola. Who knows Haruna Oshola very well? You know him? Okay, there is a song that he sang that has to do with Akpala, yes. That has to do with regulation of real estate. Ile Pako, Ile Biriki, Abi, Aye Ema Tapasi Joba, Efaramo Bobolaji. I don't know whether you have heard about Ile Pako, 50 naira lowo. You have heard about it? Yes. That was when regulation started. Government was able to come out boldly to say, we want to regulate rent. And it was attributed to him. And that brought a standard to which no one dare go above the law. Because then we were under military regime. It was backed up by a decree. You know what a decree was then? Decree is what the military were using to rule us. Abi? One man will just sign it into law without discussing with anybody. So that was then. And people were afraid. The landlord will tell you, please, don't go and tell them at the barrack that this is the amount we are charging. If you want our house, we'll give to you at the price to which government is saying it. It makes the stability of rent to come into focus. And Lagos became a destination for all. Because you cannot just do what we are doing now, where you just fix rent, charge at your own discretion. Government has the law that was backing it. After that, we went into having the Buba Marwa law. The Buba Marwa law was an improvement on the Mobalaji law then, which also deals with the main issue, that is rent. It wasn't even talking about my practice, estate agent, because not many people were into that practice then, if you can remember, sir. Not many people. The people we used to know that were doing it are those Baba Katika. They call them Baba Katika of those days. Old school. Mustafa Iwinla is gone now. His dad was a caretaker. Yes. He derived that energy from his dad. It's from the blood. So a lot of them then, we are then. If you know the caretaker them, they are men of integrity. I used to know one in the school when we pass, he has an office where we used to stay in Barega then. And he's a man of integrity. Everybody in that environment knows him. If you are looking for house, go and meet him. Something happened one day to tell us about his integrity. He was, I don't know how these 419 people got to know that this man was having some money. And he was having the rents of his clients in his custody. You know, that time, you hardly take money to the bank. You can keep money under your pillow or you know. So that is how they went. And I don't know, because he's a man that doesn't go and do anything that is unethical. But people said maybe it was charm or something like that. But at the end of the day, they collected huge amount of money from him. Huge amount of money. Then, about 10,000 naira. Then, huge amount of money. And you know what this man did? It's quite unfortunate. This man had to, because I was coming from the school that was in the primary school. I saw a lot of people, and the man had to take poison. In those days, they used to say, Tilebama ku ile oshani. If you understand what I'm saying. He was not ready to go and face those problems. He was not ready to tell his principle. He took his life. Integrity. A lot of them, Baba Kiatika of those days, are men of integrity. Obeka. Sorry. I thought I'm in the gathering of my association. I will still tell you about what that association is all about. That was Buba Marwa. He came, and then this present president of Nigeria, 2007, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, make a significant improvement into the regulatory law by signing into law the 2007 Lagos State Real Estate Regulatory Authority Law. Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu did that on the eve of his departure. I remember then I've joined the association. We went to the House of Assembly to defend the law. I was still a zonal chairman then, and a lot of things transpired then. Because that law would have been one of the most complete real estate regulatory law signed then, because it was a law that recognizes each of these professions. Estate agent, represented by ECAN, Nigerian Bar Association, represented by MBA, Kuren, represented by the engineer, to now form a board to sit and decide the future of real estate in Lagos State. It was signed into law. I know the role we played. I know the politician we are trying to take away estate agent from the whole setup. We had to go through the back door, spend a lot of money. That is Nigeria for you, for us to be included. It was signed. It was so beautiful a law that we felt everything about real estate regulation will have been dealt with, because it speaks about the rent increment, talks about how you can implement, talk about development, talk about the activities of service provider, and it also talks about the condition of entry. That is where I will address you later. Now, when it was signed into law, we were expecting the governor that came over after him, that is Fashola, to implement. But what did he do? Put aside the 2007 law, and he said what he wants was the tenancy law. I know a lot of us can remember. the tenancy law came into being, and the tenancy law was all about relationship, between landlord and tenant. The tenancy law is not talking about the man that brings them in, the estate agent. But we already have an existing law that talks about that. But that is politics for you. That law was silent. And they brought the tenancy law. The tenancy law was to say you must not collect more than 1 year rent in Lagos. I know a lot of people know about it. Though it brought a lot of standard into it, at a bit to regulate rent demands. And that was it. From there, we move on till we got to Ambode. Ambode was one of the, sorry to use, he did not even do anything about regulation. Came, he met the law, put the law aside, and is doing his job. Said he was not bothered about regulation until this present governor come in. He came in, and that was it. We were fortunate to meet one-on-one with the governor and our members of the association, and we sat down, talked about the history and how we can have a fully well-coordinated law for Lagos State. And the governor listened to us. And what he said was that was more of a promise then that they are going to look into all existing law and come with one formidable law that will regulate the real estate activities in Lagos State. And that was what begot the Lacera law of 2020. It was first 2020, later reviewed to be 2022. Thank you. Now, we have a law already in existence, and we have bodies that we have to use to implement the law. But the problem has always been, what has been the enforcement of this law? However, the law was not fully implemented, but subsequent government introduced this law. I've talked about it, such as the tenancy law, current regulatory framework. The current regulatory framework is categorized by the existing law, the Lacera law of 2022, which we have now. The Lacera law, like I said, have taken out so many of what was to be the inputs of professionals like us. For example, in this Lacera law, it allows even the man on the street to go into their office and register. I don't know whether you know of this. Nobody, it does not stop you. It does not stop you from being registered as long as you can provide your certificate of business registration. But we said, if you are going to have a law that does not really define who is a licensee, if you are going to have a law that does not do background check on who is to be licensed, then there is a problem. And that is what we have presently. That the law that gave birth to Lacera is giving government official the power to go and hawk licensing around Lagos. You can come in and walk into the office of Lacera, being person that practice an estate agent, without then asking you, are you an estate surveyor and valuer? Do you belong to Redan? Do you belong to Ekan? All what they want is to give you the license. Now, what is it meant for? Purely to generate revenue. That's it. There is always a target, because some of us are so close to them. There is always a target that they have every year. Each department of government must bring in this certain amount of money. They don't know. So we have a system that has created confusion and fraud. That's all in the system. That's all. So, existing law. Government policy, federal government policy on housing, on tithing, the lawyers have dealt with that. But it's quite unfortunate. We are sitting down there telling them, we don't have a federated law that addresses regulation. We don't. What we have is the Lagos State Lacera law. Ogun State does not even have anything. Why can't we have a federal agency that regulates the activities of service provider? Why is it taking us a longer time to have a single agency of government, federal body, that will tell you the do's and don'ts of real estate practice and business? Why is it taking a longer time? And we have them seated there in the House of Assembly and the Senate, and God will bless us in this country. National Real Estate Governing Law. I've said it, non-existent. There is nothing like that. There is nothing. The engineers, they have what we call building code, Abi? The building code only addresses those in the profession of engineering. You are engineers. Okay. Only address those in the profession of engineering. But we don't have a law that addresses the activities of service provider, real estate, people who want to come into it. An investor from outside this country, we want to come in. I say, I want to invest. What does it entail me? Maybe he's fortunate to say in Lagos, Lasera law is there. If he's going to Ogun, it's on his own. He's going to Kwara, it's on his own. What is stopping us from having a federal law that regulates the industry? What are the challenges and the bottlenecks? Lack of transparency. I've said about it. They will ask you to come and build, and they will be the one to pull down. What is happening in Uhuru is not new. But you hardly hear government say, Uhuru, I'm talking about 2 years ago, repeatedly, Uhuru is marked for demolition, don't put your money there. You said they cannot. They won't tell you. So it's like a boo-boo trap. The Americans say boo-boo trap. They set it for you. Once you put your head on it, you are hit. Lack of transparency. It's all over in the real estate transaction. When it has to do with government agency, they hardly tell you this is it. This is don't go here. Even when you go and do search, my brother, there are some documents that when you go and do search, they say it's okay, right? Your client will pay. But by the time you come back there, it's another story entirely. Yes. I still remember one of these governors, his property, his CFO was cloned. I don't know whether you people can remember. About when Ambode was still the governor, something happened in lands. People that normally visit lands. The day they came with full military men, arrest everybody, and take them to the barrack. Former governor has his CFO clone, and the property was sold. And the man that bought said, my lawyer went to lands to search. But by the time they want to verify again, they have changed it to, this is Lagos. The governor went, he's a military man, he's late now. Former governor of Lagos State went and packed everybody. Before you know it, Ambode was queried. The director of lands, the next day, was moved to another ministry. This is Lagos. So, lack of transparency. Lack of transparency. I've talked about it. Government corruption. Government officials are often corrupt and enforcement is weak. Some of the officials that comes to inspect, physical planning, soil tests, they are super corrupt people. Super corrupt. They will tell you, I've seen one say, this is what government rate is all about. Are you ready to pay that, or you are ready to settle? The choice is yours. If you want to settle, know that they are still coming back. If you still pay government rates, they will still clamp down on you. That's it. That's the system we are practicing. That's the system. Land ownership dispute. I think the lawyer talked about that. And most of this comes through traditional institution. She was saying something the other day, that There is one family in Lagos that always insert a clause in their title. She didn't want to mention. I will mention in case of you, some of you want to go. If you go to Apapa, the Oluwa family, their property is their property. Even when you have the CFO, they will still come and collect back from you. Sir? Their property is their property. So when you buy, don't think you are having the full control or ownership of the property. They will still come and they will bring it out. It's inserted, it's registered in lands that the property belongs to them. It's registered. So land dispute. So for an estate agent that is not well grounded, they are just coming into the profession and you are just in an environment that encourages that. Don't you know how much of problem you will put your principal if you don't know much about the environment? We have places like that. There are some properties even that doesn't even have title. And you are so happy that when you buy from the woman was saying the village head and the secretary. Have you seen where there are disputes between the chains of family, where they are saying the village head is not supposed to be the village head, and it's the one that signed for you? Have you not seen that in Lagos? And they say it's not the one that is supposed to be the village head, and he has signed for you. And one thing about them is that he will not run away. They don't run. They are so wicked that they will believe that it is an issue that can be resolved. And how is it? You have to buy from the other person. This is Lagos. Real estate. So, land ownership and dispute. That's it. That tracing land ownership can be difficult, and traditional institutions need to be properly regulated. Inadequate enforcement mechanism, I've said about it, corrupt official cannot effectively enforce the law. The man that is corrupt, how can he come and enforce? No way. Can't enforce because he's corrupt. Pathway for more transparency in the industry. To address this challenge, the following pathways can be exploited. Transparency and accountability, so that at the press of a button, you get to know, you get to get what you want. The Lagos State government is doing much to that regard, to the fact that all titles are now being computerized. Abi, you feel they are being computerized. At the comfort of your home, you can do your search. You pay your amount of money, you do your search. Accountability, who is to hold responsible? Once money change hand, the man in charge of physical planning will tell you to go and pay. You pay. And they will say, we can speed up the work for you. But once money change hand, money goes into the purse of government. Is it ever returned back to you? Doesn't. You show up their revenue, and your money is gone. So, transparency and accountability. Stakeholder engagement. To the glory of God, a lot is being done by us that are just private body. But government need to do more. Government need to create an enlightenment department to say property within these houses is under litigation. There are caveats here, don't go. Here is where it's free. So that at the end of the day, when you are buying at your own risk. But you know, because of what we have in the country, nobody wants to do it. A lot of them that are elected into position, mind you, they are all from this traditional ruler background. I mean, before a politician is getting place, the Oba of that place will nominate now. It's either he nominate the daughter or the son to come and be your commissioner. So it will be very difficult. But we are saying if they make it so open, if it is open, and it will be resolved. Stakeholders need to meet. To us as an association and to all other bodies, we have what we call engagement with government. But the engagement to which our decision, submission are being thrown away. If government today comes and say they want to put up a bill to regulate, they will ask, bring your submission as stakeholder. You bring your submission, you sweat overnight, call your member, bring your submission. Before you know it, thinking and having in mind that what you have submitted should have been at least, if it's 1 or 2/10 of what they are going, they will throw away everything. They already have in mind what they want to present to the public. So that is why at times when they invite us for public engagement, we make it more confrontational, because we discover that what we have submitted is not what they are even putting before us. What they just want is for us to come and witness the law that they will soon sign, the bill that they will soon sign into law. That is government for you. Engagement. To the glory of God, we have said there must be much of regular engagement, inter-association, inter-institution engagement. Our voice must not be silent. We must meet often. The surveyor's lawyer, estate agent must meet. Maybe it's in a summit like this, and let that be a communique. Abi, it won't be you bring your own, you bring your no. Let it be a joint communication, a communique by the bodies that are relevant to regulation, and we'll work on that. We'll work on that as an association. Technology and innovation. Technology has come into it. A lot of members don't know that you can, in the comfort of your home now, place an order, just like you are placing an order for food with what they call this vendor that goes about online, Jiki. You can also place an order to rent an apartment. View is cited with reputable organization, with reputable company, build it, size it, do everything, and you pay. What is left is just for you to carry your bag and move in. It's happening. We have such in VI and some other places. Innovation is coming in. Also, a lot of things is being done in the area of how do we do profiling? How do you profile a client? Bad client, wicked landlord. Bad tenant, wicked landlord. When a tenant is put in an apartment, the law says you must maintain it before you pay for it. Abi, the law did not say you will damage it when you are living. But a lot of our tenants and houses we manage do so many things. And that is where the issue of come and pay caution damage fee comes in. Abi? But there are innovations now. There's the fact that if that tenant spoil anything in that apartment, it is for you now. I don't know whether you are aware, because this is what we are championing. It is for you now. There's an app for it. Download, send it, so that the same tenant, if he wants to go and collect any apartment in other area, once you slot in his name, everything he did at the former place will be revealed. So it is not left for you to now say, can I take this tenant to be my tenant, or I should reject him? So innovation are coming in. Innovation are coming in into real estate, and people must also try to key into it. Leverage innovation to streamline administration. We've talked about title of document. Innovation is there. At the comfort of your home, you can do your search, right? You can do your search. And also, transaction. I've said about transaction. Then, best practices. Adopt international standard to address investors and ensure industrial professionalism. Best practices. When you talk about best practices, you are doing comparison with what is obtained in other land. Abi? You don't talk about best practices when you are a local champion. And today, there are differences even between us and the neighboring country when it comes to real estate transaction. It's so seamless. If you go to Cotonou there, you can easily walk into Cotonou today and rent an apartment. What did you need to do if you are a foreigner to get your ID? Do we have it here? Maybe you know. A Ghanaian will come into Nigeria and you don't do your search on him and you put him in your apartment. But another client is not done. Even nearby country here, Kudono, as a Nigerian, you want to rent, they will do due diligence on you. You want to confirm who you are. The best practices must be employed. We must try to take real estate into what is obtainable globally. A lot of these guys travel outside this country, and they dare not try what they are doing here. They dare not try. You have an apartment, and you are putting in somebody to manage for you. Who is the person? There are some countries, as a Nigerian, I can invest. There is a level of what I can invest into that economy because they know where we are coming from. They want to regulate their currency. Abibeko. But if a Chinese man come with a dollar here, he can buy up all the way of VI. Abi? He can buy up because of in regulation. Now, okay. Now, to the glory of God, I represent an association that is protecting the interests of estate agents. I've said it and I'll continue to say it, that when you go into the street of Lagos, who is your agent when you are looking for an apartment? When you want to buy, who is your agent that will assist you? Is it the man you go and meet at Mr. Beast that doesn't have an office? Or is it the man you come across in ShopRite that you can never trace? Who is your agent? Who is the person you engage? Is it not better for you to have one that you can trace, not only to his office, but to an association, a body, so that if anything goes wrong, you can go and hold that association responsible? I represent the Estate Rent and Commission Agent Association of Nigeria, an association that was built on integrity, an association that was formed to correct the wrong impression of the profession. In conclusion, a more transparent and regulatory real estate industry can be achieved through collaboration among stakeholders like the association I belong to, government agency, and the industry player. Government should focus on, first, standardization without generating revenue at the expense of the industry growth. By working together, Nigeria can create a more transparent and efficient real estate industry. Thank you, and God will bless you all.